If you're doing these 10 things, it might be costing you gigs without you even realizing it. And I want to give you these 10 things so that you can stop doing these things and replace them with some behaviors that are actually going to get you work as a musician, especially in a town like Chattanooga, Tennessee. My name is Matt Kelly. I am the founder of Gig City Music Group, your platform for musical momentum. And I want to help you connect with people who are going to give you fulfillment in your craft, to connect you with opportunities that are going to get you paid as an artist. So if you're ready, let's get you some work. All right, here's the first thing that might be secretly costing you gigs, and that's resenting other people's success. I've seen several posts, and I say several, I mean like at least 10 posts that I've counted in some social media groups that are specific to Chattanooga music, where people have been just saying atrocious things about like these musicians that have sold out or that have gone corporate or have like lost their art or something like that. And really what's actually happened is this person's gotten a break. They've moved forward in their career and they're actually being able to make the art that they want to make and get compensated well for it. And people are just trashing them for it. And like, hey, maybe they've sold out. Maybe the way that they've gone about their art is completely against what you value. And that's totally fair. And you're allowed to have those values. And complaining about that will get you literally nowhere. It literally just wastes your time. And I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to invest your time well so that you can have the kind of success that you value, so that you can succeed in a way that you think is worthwhile. And one thing that is going to guarantee that you don't get there is just sitting around complaining about other people who are having success just because it's not you or because it's not the way you would have done things. Focus more on creating the kinds of relationships and networks and frameworks and structures that are actually going to help you move forward. The second thing that might be secretly costing you gigs is treating newcomers to Chattanooga like they're not welcome. This is another thing I've seen in a lot of Facebook groups. And even more than the first thing is, man, we got to get all these Westerners out of here. You're not welcome. And you're coming and you're ruining our scene. And you all this kind of stuff. And once again, like, hey, if you value like local, and that means that somebody coming in from Seattle or Los Angeles or New York or whatever is threatening to the status quo, then you have a right to believe that. And complaining about it, once again, is not solving anything for you. And you know what I've found? Hey, if this is you, be ashamed. No. If this is you, this is not helping you, okay? I, it's often I've seen the very same people complaining about newcomers to the scene that are also complaining about locals not showing up to shows. If you have a problem with locals not showing up to shows, maybe some new people coming in with some money to invest in local art is actually a good thing that'll solve that problem. You might actually have a new audience now that you didn't have before, right? They're bringing in new markets, they're bringing in more money, they're bringing in even just their presence here makes the city grow, which means more investment money is going to flow into the city, which means there's more pie for musicians like you to eat. So if you're complaining about newcomers to the scene and about like it not keeping it local or things like that, well, they're part of the community now. They are also locals, regardless of where they started from. And it's not helping you to complain about them being here. The third thing, that might be secretly costing you gigs is just drifting without a plan. Success in the marketplace does not happen accidentally. It happens by making the right investments. You have to decide to do something. And for me, as a creative person, as an artist, it can be kind of hard for me to nail down a plan for a couple reasons. One, because I'm kind of a perfectionist. And so if my plan doesn't feel completely thought out, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to invest in this and it's not going to pan out. And then I'm going to lose money or I'm going to lose time or lose relationships or whatever. I lose self respect. I don't know. But then also, like, it's hard because we feel sometimes as musicians, maybe you can relate to me, but we feel sometimes that as musicians, we lose some of our creativity when we put bounds on it. And sometimes that's true. But if everything is an option, then that's so much information that essentially it makes nothing an option. You have to have some guardrails and boundaries around how you're pursuing your craft if you want to be a working musician. If you're just doing it as a hobby or as something that you do for art on like just because you want to do it, that's different, right? You can take all the time that you need. But if you are wanting to be a working musician and have this be a part of your profession, then there has to be a plan for like how you're going to make money, how you're going to find people that are interested in what you're doing, what venues you're going to play at, what's your gimmick, what's your style, what kind of music are you going to play, what kind of people are you going to work with, how am I keeping track of my money, am I paying the right amount of taxes? Am I recording everything well? Like all of these things are things that you need to be thinking about and that you need to plan for. And what's great about this, here's something that a lot of people don't know. Yeah, I mean, you may not know this too. I didn't know this for a long time. Uh, Putting some boundaries and a plan in place actually frees you up to be more creative. Because when you have anything being possible, then you're just inundated. You're flooded with so many possibilities that it actually paralyzes decision making. But when you have an idea of the soup in which you are working, then you can actually make clear decisions that move you forward and give you more free time to actually be creative in the things that you want to pursue. So move forward with a plan if you want to be a working musician. All right, number 4, this is something that is secretly costing you gigs, and this is so widespread. It's wild. I don't know if this is in every scene, but I definitely see it here in Chattanooga. Is like you got to stop refusing to decide if this is a hobby or a profession. You have to decide which one it's going to be. Because if you're just kind of like hovering on that line, then like you're going to suck at both and you're not going to be fulfilled in either, right? If you're on that line, then like you're not going to be as fulfilled in the art you're making if it's a hobby or if it's something that you're doing just as a human investment, right? But then you're also not going to be focused enough to make the kind of revenue and build the kind of um, system that you're wanting to build on the profession side. So you have to decide. Let me tell you a story. I was in a band one time, and I'm going to give very little details because I think some of these guys might actually be in the group. So if you're watching, know that I see that you have changed this and are succeeding in it. But I'm not going to mention names. So I was in a band one time. I was playing trumpet for it, and this band really some of the band members were family members, and I was not one of those. And I just felt like we couldn't decide what we wanted to be. And by me saying I felt like we couldn't decide what we wanted to be, I mean we never really talked about if this was just something we were doing for fun or if this is something that we were trying to get paid for. And um, because of that, we were confused about the purpose of rehearsals. Like we'd have a 3-hour rehearsal to go over our repertoire, but then not know where we were playing next or what was expected for the next rehearsal or anything like that. And then every now and then we would get a gig, and sometimes it would be like at a market or something, we get paid a decent amount. And then other times I'd walk away with like literally, I walked away one time with $18 for a 3-hour gig. And uh, that was not super great because I wanted this to be a business investment, but we couldn't really decide. We kept going back and forth on what they wanted to be, and because of that, it just wasn't feasible for me long term. And so I ended up leaving the band. That's the kind of thing that's going to make you not feel fulfilled on either side. So that might be secretly costing you gigs because it might be causing you to lack focus. So don't do that. Decide, is this for fun or is this for profession? And then stick to that lane and focus on that purpose. All right, so we've had four things so far. Let me really recap. All right. The first thing that might be costing you gigs without you knowing it is resenting other people's success. The second thing is treating newcomers to the scene like they're not welcome. The third thing is just drifting without a plan. The fourth thing is refusing to decide if this is a hobby or a profession. Here's number five. All right. This one is really, really sneaky because I think of all the things on the list that we're going to cover today that might be robbing you of opportunity, this is the one that tends to fly under the radar without being noticed the most. And that's, you need to stop complaining without creating. Right? We need to replace complaining with creating because I, if you're complaining about something, that usually means like that there's something wrong, right? At least you perceive something to be wrong. But complaining accomplishes very little. I mean, we already talked about that in general with the other points, but man, if you're just complaining, man, there's too many gatekeepers, or there's no way to get into these venues, or there's not enough venues, or there's no opportunity for people who play my special kind of music, or something like that, then I can guarantee you two things. Even if people aren't telling you this, they don't want to be around you. If you're negative all the time, even if you're right, it's just going to get on people's nerves. And it's going to rob your attention from creating solutions to the things that you're complaining about. I Can I tell you something that I realized the other day that was just like mind blowing to me? I say the other day. If you've known me long enough, you know when I say the other day, it could mean yesterday or 4 years ago. So sometime in that time period, I realized this, and it's been like really, really mind blowing to me. It's that you can literally do anything you want to do as long as it doesn't defy physics. Like if I wanted to go to the moon, it'd be pretty hard, but technically I could find a way to get on a rocket ship at some point and go to the moon, right? It doesn't defy physics, therefore it's something that I can do, right? And so, yeah, what would guarantee that I didn't make it to the moon if that was my goal is if I just complained about all the obstacles in my way for getting there. Like, oh, I'm not an astronaut. I don't know anybody at SpaceX. It's too expensive. Like all of these things might be actual obstacles, but focusing on those obstacles and complaining about them doesn't get me any closer to getting to the moon. What would get me closer to getting to the moon is like, all right, maybe I need to go to Huntsville and spend some time around some space people. Or maybe I need to grow my business so that I can have some money to invest in space travel when it becomes more open to tourists in the next few years. Maybe I need to find ways to create offers within my business that involve people in space. Whatever it is, like just coming up with those creative solutions are the things that are going to move you forward, and complaining is not that. So when it comes to music, when it comes to your working musician craft, if you're complaining about, let me word that differently. What's going to help you is to think about, okay, here's this obstacle. Like maybe it's too difficult for somebody who hasn't been in the scene very long to get into these venues. The next thing that we should be asking is, okay, what is something within my control that I could do about that? Because you can do anything you want. You're an autonomous human being. And as long as it doesn't defy the laws of physics, it is possible. So what could you do? Maybe it's okay, I can't get into these venues. So maybe I rent a space, throw my own event, prove that I can do it, and then use that proof as leverage to get in somewhere. Or maybe you start your own venue and you have a consistent stage that's your own that you can use over and over and over again. Maybe it's, man, I don't even want to do like live. Maybe I do like live video concerts and I have my audience members put on VR glasses. I get a 360 camera and it's like they're in the room with me. I don't know. Like maybe that wouldn't work, but then any other obstacles that come from your solutions, you can apply the same level of thinking to, and that's what's going to get you creative solutions that move you forward rather than keeping you stuck. You may be missing so many opportunities by simply focusing too much on why it won't work. Every time you say this won't work, you're robbing yourself of the creativity that would get you to something that will. So stop stop complaining without creating. All right. Number 6, uh whew, this is in the same vein. I really like this one. This one's fun to me. All right. So I've given you some that are like boo, stop being terrible or something like that. But this one is more fun to me. So we need to stop limiting our creativity to just the music that we're making. And this goes right along with what I was just saying, right? Oftentimes we as artists, we can get so like we can have so much tunnel vision and we can focus our creativity on like songwriting or guitar tone or um, chord progression or set list or whatever it is. We can put all of our creativity into this, but we never have an opportunity to showcase that creativity because we're not creative in how we're engaging our audiences and how we're structuring our business. And if we were to apply the same kind of creativity to our business decisions as we do to creating those songs or finding that guitar tone, then we might actually find opportunities that have been sitting there all along, but we didn't see them because we were so narrowly focused. So use that same creativity, that creative muscle that you already have and are using well, start applying it to things outside of just music, and you'll find doors opening for you. Number 7, whoo, man, if there's anything on here, so some of these, like I said, are sneaky and kind of behind the scenes, and some of them are just annoying. This one right here, I go between this one and number 8 on what is like as what is like numerically probably going to cost you the most opportunity. Maybe you can vote. Which one do you think between this one and the next one is costing you more opportunity? Number 7, you got to stop playing the victim. You got to stop throwing a pity party. Nobody's going to RSVP to that party. People are really polite, especially here in the South. They're not going to tell you that it's getting on your nerves. They're going to comfort you. They're going to say, oh, you're right. Oh, it's okay. They're going to pat you on the back. And then they're not going to work with you. And they're going to go work with somebody else. Or they're going to comfort you and console you and then never give you an opportunity. And that's just kind of like a harsh reality of how the marketplace works. You see, we are all equal as people, as humans. We are all equal as souls. We are not equal in the marketplace. And if you are just constantly playing the victim and asking people to pity you and like needing that attention from people, needing people to understand how hard it is for you, it probably is really hard. And if you take that into the marketplace, you're going to have zero opportunity. So, what do you do about that? One, you need different kinds of people in your life. You need people in your life who are your support system. You need people who are going to be able to hold on to you, to comfort you, to help you problem solve, and to understand you and say, wow, that is hard. Let me be here with you. And those cannot be the same people that you are pitching your product to. Those cannot be the same people that you are asking to hire you. Those can't be the same people that you are asking to collaborate with you on a project. Because as soon as you bring that into the marketplace, you become one, a giant bucket of emotional risk for people. Two, you become irritating for people who are trying to get things done because that becomes an obstacle or something that they have to invest energy in that they'd rather not invest energy in. And even if that's not fair, it doesn't get you work. So stop playing the victim in the marketplace. Stop wishing people would understand how difficult it is for you and go out and create. And then find your support system of people not in the marketplace that can meet with you where you're at and see you and support you. And make sure that those two stay separate, because if they're not separate, I guarantee you it's costing you so much opportunity. Number 8, just stop being unreliable. If you're unreliable, it's costing you opportunity guaranteed. If you show up late somewhere, if you show up without your gear, or you show up and your gear's not working, or somebody has booked you for an event and it takes you 3 days to respond to their messages, you're not going to get hired back. And that's going to travel to other people, right? It's not just going to stay a secret with that one person. They're going to tell the people they know, don't hire this person because they did XYZ or they didn't do XYZ. And that doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. Like, mistakes are going to happen. There are going to be variables that you can't control, but you need to make sure that you account for as many variables as possible on the front end, and that you rehearse what you're going to do and how you're going to show up for people, and that you communicate well so that when a mistake happens, you've got all of this buffer, both systematically and relationally, that is going to help contain that mistake, right? So make sure you're reliable. And once again, like, being unreliable doesn't make you a bad person. And that's not always something that you have to apply to every relationship in your life. Like, there may be people in your life that are totally fine with you taking 3 days to respond. And for things that aren't related to the marketplace, like, hey, like, you do you. If somebody's cool with that, that's great. But if you take that to the marketplace, you're going to fail. So leave it at home, leave it in the spaces where it works, where people are okay with it. But if you want opportunity, if you want gigs, if you're coming in being unreliable, you don't have a contingency plan, people just aren't going to hire you. It's just a fact. Now, once again, vote for me here on which one you think is costing more. Is it being unreliable that's costing more opportunity, or is it playing the victim? I'd like to know what you guys think. I think it's playing the victim. That's my vote. We got 2 more. These things are like mind blowing to me. Once again, they're so simple, but they've just unlocked so much opportunity for me and for other people in the scene. Um, Number 9 is stop expecting the scene to owe you something. You are not owed anything. It's the Wild West in the marketplace. If you're a working musician, if this is your profession, like, nobody is going to hand you anything on a silver platter. If they do, consider it a blessing and take advantage of it, right? Like, don't let the opportunity slip past you. But for the most part, that's not going to happen. You're not just going to be handed things on a silver platter. Just because you're good at your instrument doesn't mean people owe it to you to hire you. Just because you're kind doesn't mean people owe it to you to treat you well. And once again, like all of these things are marketplace things. When it comes to just being a decent human and having relationships and finding fulfillment in other areas of your life, these things don't necessarily apply. But when it comes to the marketplace, there is blood in the water. And when you go out there and you put yourself out there and you're trying to make a living with this, you got to know people aren't going to hand you things, right? In the marketplace, you have to earn respect. In the marketplace, you have to earn being hired. In the marketplace, you have to put forth an effort before that effort is going to pay out. So don't go into the marketplace expecting things to be handed to you. Earn it. And if people aren't giving you the work that you feel like you deserve, or the opportunities that you feel like you deserve, number one, just throw the word deserve out of your vocabulary. And number two, go make an opportunity. Use that creativity well, like we talked about earlier, and you're going to be unstoppable. Number 10, and number 10 is one that I'm like more so speaking. I'm barely even talking to you guys about number 10. I am like so just talking to my own heart for number 10. Like there's a big Matt Kelly mirror in front of me for this one. Stop waiting for permission to do something. That's caught like there are so many opportunities out there that are just waiting for you to come up and say, yeah, I'll do that. And like for me, I'm a very agreeable person. And in some situations that's a strength, in some situations that's a weakness. And I'm okay with the balancing of that. And at the same time, I know that I have missed opportunities because I felt like I needed somebody's permission to go do the thing. And what's crazy is like, it's not even a defined person most of the time. It's not like, I mean, sometimes it is, sometimes it really is, man, I need my dad's permission emotionally to do this, or I need my kid's permission, or I need this venue owner's permission to do that, whatever it is. But oftentimes I've found it's just this kind of vague, ethereal, like needing people's approval before I'm willing to step into something, like needing to know that people are going to be okay with me making this decision. And I know for me that's rooted in like questions about my identity, right? Like if I do this and people perceive me as being a bad person, what does that say about who I am? Am I a bad person for doing it this way? Is this the wrong way to go about it? And then all of these questions hold me back from just trying something and seeing what the data says. Because sometimes people don't know what the heck they're talking about. Other times, there's not actually anybody like that would disagree with it in the first place. It's just this weird, vague, looming feeling of people going like that are going to disagree that's hovering over you. And if you were to just step out and do it, you'd realize people would support it. Sometimes people really are against you, and you should do it anyway because you have your convictions and you know why you're doing it. And you know that you can provide value for people. Russell Brunson says if you have a great idea that will help people or that will make people's lives better, you have a moral obligation to follow through with that idea. Right? Like sometimes people don't understand like what you're doing or why you're doing it. And I think it just in general, we need to normalize being okay with people not understanding us. Like we're not always going to be understood. And once again, I'm talking to the Matt Kelly mirror here. Like that doesn't mean that it's not worth pursuing. Sometimes it means you have to prove it for people to understand. And sometimes you have to prove it to yourself. Sometimes you have to take a chance. And hey, maybe they were right, but you're not going to know unless you do it. So stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for permission. And just go out there and try things. And even if the first 7 things that you try are terrible and don't work, you've gained so much information that some people never get. Like if you can make 7 mistakes before the person next to you tries something, then you are way ahead of where that person's at, because you may be in the same position monetarily at that point. You may be in the same position with number of opportunities at that point, but you have gained so much knowledge and wisdom that you can then apply going forward. And that's huge. So, hey, there might be some things that are secretly costing you gigs, secretly costing you opportunity that are happening behind the scenes that you didn't even realize. I hope this has helped you. I hope you take these things to heart. Tell me what you think. If there's something you disagree with on one of these, push back. I want to have that conversation. If there's something you really agree with, I'd love to hear your story of how you're applying it. We are in this together. This is not just a Matt Kelly talk show where I'm talking at you through this lens. I want to know what's working for you. I want to know what's not working for you. And I want to help you gain some momentum. So if this was helpful for you, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, message me. I want to talk to you and I want to collaborate with you. And if you're the kind of person who is like finding yourself nodding your head to this, like, yes, 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 then you're my kind of person. And we need to get together and collaborate on something. So let's do that. Be blessed.